Hi, I'm Lisa Faison. I met Krishna at my mom's murder trial. She was the district attorney. She was very awesome. She calmed me down. She made sure that the questions that his lawyer would ask me, trying to skim me up somehow to where it was my fault, she would turn it back around to where it would come out truthfully. And all I had to do was just tell the truth. Yes, I'm a recovering addict, and she knew that. And she would divert his lawyer from bringing that up, saying I was an addict and I did it, or that my dad did it. She would turn the questions around, and she had my back. She did a real good job of making sure that the jury could hear what she was saying and what I was saying. And the jury listened to her, and it was like no nonsense. I mean, she knew what she was doing. The verdict came out on our side, of course, because of what had happened to my mom. And he tried to get an appeal, I think maybe about 6 months after he was sentenced. And it only lasted, I think, maybe an hour or two, and it was done. She made sure that the appeal didn't go anywhere. It stopped right there and then, and there hasn't been an appeal since because of how she stipulated the fact that my mom was an elder and what he did was evil and wrong. She also got witnesses that he had done things to before, trying to blow up another lady, trying to kill her, and another lady that I know that he tried to hurt and kill. And it all boiled down to he was trying to hurt me by doing what he did to my mom and dad by burning their house down. He tried sending a letter to my dad, and I went over there and read it, and she asked me if I still had the letter, but I had ripped it up and the trash had already gotten out. But I called her and let her know what was going on, and she got back to me with a quickness and told me that she had gotten hold of the prison, the warden, and that they didn't know that he had sent something like that out because, it's supposed to be, no contact. So anything with my dad's address on it will not get delivered. I'm just grateful I called her and trusted her enough to do what she needed to do, and she did it the very next day, which was such a blessing. Some prosecutors don't fight hard for the victims. She fought hard for me. She fought real hard for me. I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful that she was my DA. After the sentencing, she'd call me a couple of times and ask me if I was okay and how I was doing and how my dad was doing. I don't know if they do that, but she did for me. And that made me feel real good, that she cared enough to see how I was doing and how my dad was doing. See, I used to be a hardcore addict, and my judgment very off. And I got hooked up with this guy. He became an abuser. I finally broke free from him, and he'd call me at my job telling me I ripped his heart out, and he's going to do the same to me. And he had my cat, held him kidnapped and started making him make noises. One of my sister friends, I was over there, and he started a little fire over there. And then at another place that I was staying when I was working, he kicked the door in and scared the children and the lady I was staying with. He tried running me off the road on my way home from work. In order to save the people that I care about, I got in the motorhome with him, and he took off to Reno, and I tried to get away, and he caught me. So we came back to Vacaville. It was time for me to take care of my mom and dad, so I took care of my warrants, got out in Stockton, and he found me there, beat me up like an idiot. Some of us have this code of honor, you don't tell. So I just, somebody called the sheriff's department, they showed up, and all I did was tell him he was in a motorhome. I should have gave him his name, which I didn't. And he called me and was being mean, and I said something mean to him, and he said, I'm going to get you and your family, starting with your family first. And so I called the kids and everything, and we were ready for him. I had no clue that he'd go to my mom and dad's house. That night he went to my mom and dad's house and burned the house down. And I was in Fairfield with my daughter, and the phone rang at 3, and I didn't answer it because I figured it was probably him. In the morning, Detective Poland came to my daughter's door. All I remember is saying, I just got out of jail, I didn't do nothing. He said something, to where you guys would think I did something wrong and come arrest me. And they took me outside, and that's when they told me what had happened with my mom. And I went in, grabbed my daughter, and we cried, and he took me down to the police department, and they had him, and this is how God works. The night that it happened, the lady down the street, I know her son from NA, and she told the police that she seen him on a bicycle, and Officer Tan caught him, and he held him. He goes, you and Lisa still together? And he seen the fire and was listening to it and realized it was my house, my mommy's house. And he had a gas tank, and he had matches or candles or something, and he knew it was him that lit the fire. So that night they arrested him, which is a godsend and a blessing. My mom didn't make it out. My dad did, and she had told them what the guy looked like, and that was him. So they took me down to the police department. That's when everything went straight to trial. At that point there, I was really just hysterical. She was soft. She was very, like I said, doctors have bedside manners. She has victim manner, side manner, and I'm grateful that her mannerism was the way it was, because it helped diffuse my emotions and my feelings. And she just got that rapport that I went through hell, and she was there for me through the whole thing. And he's still in prison, and he's not getting out. There's a couple of people I know that were in prison that said, yeah, he's getting it, because of one thing, you don't do that to your elders. That's against everything, elders and children. And she understood that. And like I said, I don't know if there'd be any other district attorney that would understand that, have those type of realizations and emotions to where they need to go away. They can feel that pain, like they're going through the pain too. And just like when he sent that letter and stuff, when I talked to her, because I was, when I talked to her, her voice even, it's okay, I took care of it, and she said, if you feel like you're being followed or something, call the police. I don't know what this dude's gonna do. So I keep my eyes open, and she says, if you do, call the police and call me. So I have her number if I ever need to talk to her, and I don't know if they do that with people. I know she does, and I think that's beautiful, very beautiful. My dad's doing well, we're getting along, he loves me. He forgives me. I've learned to forgive myself, because I was blaming myself, because if I would have got clean sooner, none of this would have happened. But that's not the case, and so it's been a long road. I now have 13 years clean. I'll have 14 in August. Me and my daddy, I have him in my life. Never did before. But yeah, I'd vote for her. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna vote for her. I would definitely recommend her for another term. She's a blessing. I truly believe if it wasn't her being the DA, he might not have gotten all that sentence. California, they do not do the death penalty, so he got 75 years, and he's not getting out. She's the savior.